Yeah, welcome everyone. Excited to have you here for our first recorded All Access Coaches Corner podcast. Extremely excited. I wanted to start it off. I called him and said, I want you to be our first guest. Honored that he said yes. So we got Coach Maligi here from Texas Tech. I'll let him introduce himself real quick and tell us who is Coach Maligi.
Well, no, Brian, thank you for having me on. This is, definitely an honor. I'm entering my second year at Texas Tech. Um, Gotten a chance to, enjoy a long ride to me, but some think it's been pretty short. I guess it's been, 14, 15-year career now at various stops around the state of Texas. Most recently at Texas A&M prior to coming here, and then spent a short stint at SMU, University of Houston, Stephen F. Austin, and then I got my start at the University of Texas. So, but very, very excited to be here at Texas Tech and blessed to work with what I think is one of the best coaching staffs in the country.
Yeah, absolutely. No doubt about it. That's well proven and excited that you're with them. It fits. You definitely have made your tour around Texas and definitely at a stop. I feel like you're going to be until you're a head coach. My personal opinion, I can say that. So obviously, I know you from DFW. We're both from Dallas. I graduated high school in the north, in Plano East. You graduated a little more Arlington, Bowie. So we want to represent Bowie. So tell us a little bit about what Dallas means to you. I mean, I know obviously it's becoming a hotter and hotter spot for NBA players and just a hotbed for talent, period. And it's been a big part of your career as far as recruiting and being someone from there. And I know you started on the grassroots with the Dallas Mustang. We were both grassroots guys, but I would love to tell us what that place means to you. Tell us about your DFW kind of background and just share anything about Dallas that makes that a special place to you.
Well, in terms of basketball, man, Dallas-Fort Worth is home for me. It's been so many people there, high school coaches, AAU coaches, trainers, just, basketball juggernauts, so to speak, that have impacted my career and my life. Just, so many mentors that I've, been blessed to, obtain over the years. But originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. I moved to Arlington when I was 14 years old. I went to Arlington Bowie High School. Got a chance to coach AAU basketball during the time that I was a head manager at Howard University in Washington, D.C. I would come back during the school year and coach AAU during my undergraduate years. So that's where I started, and I was fortunate, to be able to land my first job, at the age of 21 there at University of Texas at Arlington with Scott Cross, who was a good friend of mine and mentor. But it's just been so many great players that I've been blessed to be a part of recruiting to come out of the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and that have been instrumental in a lot of the teams that, I've been on coaching staffs where we've enjoyed postseason success.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm glad you touched on all of that. Dallas is home. My mom and family still live there. And my brother's a Mustang. I was a Mustang at one point in time, so we all kind of Mustang family. So no, definitely. The whole city's proud of you, man. We definitely all excited for you and what you're doing, and we want to continue to be able to hold you down. So that's why I wanted you to be first. It's only right to pay homage to the crib. So you touched on Howard. HBCU. I don't want to say it's necessarily a cool thing right now, but it's definitely becoming more recognized, getting more credit. We have our 5-star that chose, to go to a HBCU. So HBU has its own movement and its own recognition of strength and power. So if you don't mind, just touch on what made you go to that route for college and just what that kind of means to you as well.
Yeah. So, I was National Honor Society in high school. And I know my coaching staff and probably some of my players don't believe that. But, I did, finish cum laude. And
You got to let them know, Coach. You got to let them know.
But no, I wanted to go to a school. I was attracted to Howard University because of the renowned alumni list. Its great reputation as a university. And I was just excited to be a part of, for lack of better words, Black excellence. There was, so many people from the political world to the entertainment world. I thought it would be a place that, I could be able to network. And I thought I hit that out the park. I was fortunate to find my wife at Howard University. She's from Dallas as well, from Oak Cliff, the Pink Apartments. She went to Hockaday, private school in Dallas. Has an unbelievable reputation, and she's the first doctor on either side of the family. She's not currently practicing right now, but she worked at MD Anderson, which is one of arguably the best cancer research hospital in the world. And so very proud of her as well. And she's been a great support system for me. But a lot of friends that, came out of Howard. I was at Howard with Lance Gross, famous actor. He attended Howard during my time. Antoine Bethea, who was a multi-year Pro Bowler. So it was pretty cool to see a lot of guys. AJ Ross, now that works as a sideline reporter, I believe, for Fox or CBS in terms of football, NFL football. So just so many people that went there and had dreams a lot like me. And then to see everybody that or a lot of people that you went to school with kind of fulfill their dreams was great, man. It's just so much history at all these HBCUs to see a lot of the kids and families now kind of recognize that. I hate that it took so long, but I think it's still a pretty cool thing. Better late than never. So
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And you're now one of those people that they're celebrating as a proud alumni and somebody they're proud of and somebody the next generation is looking up to, saying, "Man, I want to be like Coach." So credit to you, salute to you on that. I'm curious too, just kind of piggyback on what you were just saying. Does it feel a certain sense of pride and a certain sense of, I'm glad they're finally doing it and finally showing them love. And um, now that you've gone there and it's kind of become cool later in a sense as far as a fad or a movement. Is it gratifying for you knowing you did it because you did it for your own reasons and now seeing how it's kind of being celebrated for a change now instead of kind of looked at sometimes as maybe like I don't want to say a last resort, but just not a top choice for not only just students but now athletes. And when athletes do it, students follow. So I'm just curious as we piggyback and move on to other things. What's your last thoughts on kind of the HBCU celebration?
yeah, I think it's so much history and tradition at a lot of these historically Black colleges and universities that, as long as kids are picking those schools for the right reasons, like any other, institution, I want to see all student athletes have great success,
Right.
no matter what university they select. But I think it goes back to, choosing institutions for the right reasons. And so I think a lot of those HBCUs, I think people don't realize the type of impact that it can have, especially on minorities. Just to be able to go to school with individuals that look like you and talk like you and think like you, and you're surrounded by that on a day-to-day basis. It doesn't mean that the other universities are not great, because obviously it's a lot of success stories from predominantly white institutions as well. And um, I just think at the end of the day, it goes back to, what that student wants to get out of their experience, their college experience, and everybody, has different goals that they're trying to achieve. And, for me, it was just a switch up on environments. For me, I thought it was at that time in my life, I thought it was something that would be different, something that could be beneficial to me long term. And, I'm blessed for my Howard experience.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Appreciate you sharing that, Coach. You touched on your significant other, your wife, and the accomplishments she's had. And I know she's your ride or die, and I know how much family is important to you, having really gotten to know you over my career. And so I'm curious if you don't mind sharing with us some of your inspiration from your father. I know he's watching down on you from heaven now, and your
Yeah.
guardian angel. But I'm curious his inspiration and kind of the things he sowed in you that you still carry with you.
Oh man, well, a lot. My dad and I, we didn't start off always on a great foot. I actually resented my dad a lot. Growing up, I thought he was really hard on me, too tough. Not as supportive athletically. Made sure I had A's and B's, and then, he exposed me to, hard work. And, I had my first job at the age of 14, 15 years old. But at the end of the day, my dad and I, I think when I was in college, I think I was a sophomore in college, he was diagnosed with cancer. And that's kind of, when you hear the word cancer, it's something that, you think, man, it's coming to an end. And my mom had, a real conversation with me in terms of being able to make things right with my father. And, I'm so glad that I did. He became my biggest fan. A lot of times, a lot of the reasons why a lot of my jobs have been in the state of Texas is because my dad loved to come to those games.
That's dope.
He battled prostate cancer. He had he was a triple amputee, had diabetes really bad. He had stage 4 kidney disease. He had a rare muscle disease that 2% of the country had. But we became best friends. And he was a guy that never complained. And he's the toughest man that I know. He embodied 4 to 1, as what we believe here, true mental toughness here that Coach Beard preaches to our players. So I actually have his, my dad, passed away of cardiac arrest. The first thing that I did is I rushed and I grabbed his prosthetic legs, and my mom and my wife were like, man, what are you doing? And, I right away, man, I had, this idea of being able to keep those. I have his prosthetic legs in my office. And I have some Texas Tech, Under Armour shoes, black and red, because I know that's what he always bugged me for gear. But I have those in there just to remind me and the players that come here, it could always be worse. My dad was a guy that thought that the glass was always, half full and not half empty. And he was just so thankful for life and the fact that he could, see and, spend and laugh, and talk on the phone. And he was the first phone call that I made every morning. So I know he's definitely, with not just with me, but with all of his family and friends and smiling down every day, just trying to make them proud.
Yeah, that's powerful. That's powerful. I'm sure the players, you get a chance to go back down memory lane when they see that and they come to the office. That's a cool thing. That's definitely a cool thing. You get to talk about that 4 to 1 and grain in them even more, and talk about that optimism. That's awesome.
Well, Brian, what's funny is, everybody walks in, they see my prosthetic legs like on top of my display here, and they come around the office, they go come around my desk like, you're happy?
You good?
And then we start getting into it, and it's like, oh man, my bad, Coach. I didn't even know, But it's pretty cool.
That's an awesome way to honor them, though. I love that idea, that concept. I've never heard of something quite like that. But you hear about a lot of things in coaches' offices, but I've never heard of something quite like that. And that's a cool way to just segue to them getting to know you better, you showing some vulnerability, and then you getting to honor your dad, man. That's awesome. I love that. So that's kind of the first quarter, Coach, your background. We're going to switch to second quarter and just go kind of behind the curtain. So just tell us your career journey. You talked about some of the places you've been, but however you want to categorize it or tell us or kind of sum it up. You touched on it some, but just your career journey, how you got to Texas Tech, how you got into coaching, what made you do it, how did you navigate through the way, just whatever you want to share.
Got it. Okay. Well, I've got an interesting journey. At the age of 15, I knew I wanted to coach. I actually created my own AAU team following my senior year in high school at Arlington Bowie. We were called Team Arlington Select. And we were playing in the DeSoto Spring League. At that time was, pretty popular league. We had went undefeated, and some of the parents were like, man, why don't you keep this team together and maybe add a couple pieces from Arlington and Mansfield. And make a long story short, we did. We ended up having about 3 or 4 Division I players on that team. And I worked my very first camp in the summer in between my freshman and sophomore year at Howard University at TCU. And Marcus Sloan, who actually does some scouting in Houston now, does a great job, was my roommate. He was a senior at TCU during that time. And this is my very first camp working for Neil Doherty. I met Albert Johnson, Tony Johnson during that camp. Make a long story short, I merged my team with the Dallas Mustangs. Got a chance to start off with the 2007 group when they were 1,500 kids, and work my way up each summer. So that was a great experience for me. I was also a head manager at Howard University. I didn't get a chance to become, or complete my senior year as a head manager because the rules changed in the NCAA, and I couldn't, be affiliated with an AAU program, but also be with a Division I team. So, at my last summer, man, those guys, Anthony Randolph, the Waylon Roberts, a lot of those top guys, man, I think we had, I don't know, I hate rankings, but at that time, I think we had like 8 or 9 top 150 guys in the country. And Anthony Randolph was an All-American. Obviously he was a one and done at LSU. But I had been with that group for so long, man, I just felt like I needed to finish it out with them. In the summers, man, my dad worked for American Airlines. So I would fly in the summers back and work camp. And my senior year, I actually took all of my classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I actually would fly out Fridays out of DC, fly back to Dallas, watch high school games on Friday, maybe catch some games Saturday, do some workouts during the day, conduct workouts on Sundays, and then go back Monday to school, take all, 6 or 7 classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and Wednesday was a big time study day for me. So, but that was a sacrifice that, I was willing to do, but blessed that my dad was a supervisor for American Airlines. So I got a chance to travel for free back to the camps every summer, man. I would literally map out, 10 or 11 camps that I wanted to work. And, I go 3 or 4 days here, then look and see what the next camp would be. And I'll have the managers or ask the managers to wash my clothes, and I'll pack my bags and go to the next spot. And, all kinds of stories were circulated about me taking one camp check and paying for the next. And, but that was the way I broke in. And at Howard, because, we didn't have as many people as we do at a Texas Tech, as a head manager, I was able to do a lot of different things from video, coordinator responsibilities to helping to run camps and, just a lot of the day-to-day, deals, recruiting on campus and that kind of thing. So it allowed me to be able to transition right into a Division I assistant coaching role right away. Scott Cross was a guy that promised me that when he got a head job, he would hire me. I thought he was crazy. He was 30. He was the youngest Division I coach in the country. He's hiring the youngest coach in the country. I thought he was out of his mind. He promised me that, I promised him I would stay for 10 years. He just wanted 2, and I left in 8 months. So, I left after one season at UTA, was blessed to be on the staff that kind of put together the team that ended up winning an NCAA tournament for the first time in school history at UTA. Went to Stephen F. Austin. We won the league 2 years in a row. Went to the NIT for the first time in school history, and also the NCAA tournament for the first time in school history. In those 3 years, I think we were 73 and 21 or something like that. We did a lot of winning. Then was fortunate to get the University of Houston job. I was on the staff that we were a part of recruiting Daniel House, Jonathan Simmons, Joe Young. All these guys played in the NBA. Daniel House was the first All-American since Fox Slamma-Jamma. And so, I was only, able to work in Houston for 2 years, and I got a chance to come back home to Larry Brown, who was arguably, one of the greatest coaches of all time, really shaped me as when I first started thinking, okay, I'm gonna be a head coach. Mm-hmm. And I thought we kind of resurrected that program from the dead. And, we got a chance to do some really great things. We're fortunate to attract some players that went on and are still playing in the NBA. And, selling out the arenas just really changed the culture and the perception of SMU basketball there. Spent the year working with John Lucas as his national scouting director. That was a very fun experience for me. We were running camps 5th grade all the way to 12th grade. And a lot of the kids that, I have been able to be a part of recruiting at Texas Tech and also Texas A&M, so a lot of those relationships started during that time. So it was just like a blessing in disguise, being at that time with Coach Lucas, who's one of the best skill training guys ever. Mm-hmm. His mind is incredible. And so just to be able to work with some of those elite athletes on the boys and girls side, and then also some of the NBA players, was a pretty cool experience. And then, I was fortunate to get a job with Billy Kennedy. And obviously, we took a ride to the Sweet 16 in my 3 years there. And then, now I'm in my second year here at Texas Tech. And, I like our team. I like our coaching staff. I love our head coach and this university and administration, everything. I mean, it's just been perfect. So, City of Lubbock has been way better than people thought.
Yeah, no doubt.
Better than they thought. At least it's been better than they told me it was going to be. I think a lot of people are surprised when they get out here to Lubbock, man. But the people out here have been unbelievable, and been very welcoming to my wife and I.
And they love it. And you got to love that. They love it. Anytime you're the biggest show in town and they love it, you can't ask for much more as a coach. That's what you dream for. So, no, I love your story, Coach. Obviously, I've known you since the very beginning for the most part. I didn't know you maybe when you were at Howard, but you were in Mustang's assistants when I met you. So I have watched you the whole time and obviously shared some of the same, gyms that you go recruiting in and all that good stuff. So nothing but respect for the reputation you built, man, and what you've done with your career. So there's a lot of ways to do it. And I'm curious for you to share whatever you feel comfortable sharing, but how did you competitively separate, and build such a powerful momentum for your career so early in the climb the way you did? The extra, not just the winning, but the brand and the reputation. Because I know it's easy to say, well, we won. So obviously touch on that because that's part of it. Because some people think that's not a part of it. But also just whatever you feel comfortable sharing. How were you able to build such a personal momentum for your career and what you did, and without, how it is. Sometimes it can be look at me, and I never thought you were necessarily a look at me guy, but I thought you did a great job of strategically making sure you put yourself in a position where you could navigate in the rooms you want to navigate. Your name was known with a good reputation with it. I thought you did a great job with media and guys like that, scouts that knew who you were. So there was a plan, and I think you probably aligned yourself with some other people that you knew also were similar to you as far as their rise. So just tell us whatever you feel comfortable, whatever makes sense. But how were you able to competitively separate? Because it's such a competitive business, and you did such a great job rising so fast in your career.
Oh, that's a compact question.
Yeah, that's a lot. And you've been recognized twice at 40 under 40, which 100,000,000% well deserved from not only ESPN but also from Stadium this last week. Yeah, absolutely. So exciting news for you. But I know you're not doing it for that, but I know that goes to your reputation that I'm talking about. I'm sure when you were 20, you were in the 20 under 20. When you were 30, you were in the 30 under 30. But you've done such a great job of that part. So just share whatever makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know about that, Brian, but I will say this. I think that it all boils down to relationships. My grandmother used to always tell me, be careful the feet you step on today, because they may be connected to that butt you got to kiss tomorrow. And I used to be like, Grandma, what do you mean by that? And she'd just be like, well, just keep living. Just keep living. And there's so many stories of just treating people the right way, treating people the way you want to be treated, and for nothing in return. And these individuals, man, like it's just, I mean, I got stories from every stop along the way. It's like mind blowing. And I don't think I'm, working harder than anybody else, or, if I'm smarter than anybody else, but I think that, I'm intentional about being genuine. And I think I try to pride myself in being a truth teller, and just treating people the right way. Following up, a lot of times in recruiting, coaches, they'll spend years, recruiting, a kid, and you've talked to that AAU coach or high school coach or both, and, that trainer for all these years, and all of a sudden you don't get the kid, but then, you go ghost. I think I try to do it, it's hard here because at Texas Tech, we got a lot going on every day, man. Coach Beard, he works just pretty good. We got a lot of projects always going on, but, I'm always trying to, call people when I don't need anything. I think in this business, man, is, it's a lot of phonies, but I think a lot of people only call when they need something. And, I think that, it's so, and you know, and it's, I don't know. I just try to be genuine, man. And then the other thing is, man, I think you have to connect yourself with winners. I've never been scared to take jobs for coaches that were going to push me. In fact, that's always, wanted me, that's pushed me to that school. So before I took the job at UTA, I actually accepted a GA position with Bobby Knight. And Chris Beard was an assistant during that time. And I was fortunate to be able to get that, that opportunity. And then obviously, Coach Beard and others told me, hey, this is a no-brainer, man. You got a chance to be a Division I assistant. You don't need to be a GA because you'll be trying to be a Southland assistant in 2 years, when you come here. But it never bothered me to be pushed and challenged by Coach Bobby Knight. Like, I'm like, man, he's the best. Like, that's, I love to be held accountable. That's why I married my wife. Like, she's a truth teller. Like, I want all my friends, they hold me accountable. I don't like having yes men around me. I don't think the guys that kiss butt, you don't prosper. Good friend Jerence Howard used to always tell me that, and I believe it, and so, I just, I wanted to, Danny Casper, when I worked for him, people talked about how challenging it was going to be, but I felt like he made me better. And I'm very appreciative of that. Larry Brown, same thing, and then now, working for Chris Beard, I wake up every day trying to, exceed expectations. And, I try to every day try to wake up and find, different edges where I can separate myself. I've actually been reading about Kobe Bryant, and trying to figure out this Mamba mentality, and you listen to Kobe talk, people say, man, like, man, why do you get up at, 4:35, 5:30 every morning? Like, I don't need an alarm clock. It's like my dreams wake me up, it's like, I feel like everybody else is going to get up at 8:30, 9 o'clock. So this is the perfect time for me to, watch close game situations on YouTube with me and my board, and put myself in that mind frame of a 30-second timeout. It's one play, it's 4 seconds left on the clock. What you got, Yurick? What you got? You know what I mean? And so it's those reps. It's just like the kids shooting in the gym that nobody sees. It's those times I get a chance to pray. It's those times I get a chance to read a couple chapters. Those times I get a chance to listen to, a podcast that can separate me. And then I show up to work. You know what I mean? Like everybody else. But I've already got, 2-hour jump on you. You know what I mean? So I just feel like, a lot of that Mamba mentality, I'm trying to adapt that to myself, and just trying to, find nuances. I've always tried to do that though.
Yeah.
And so always looking for that edge, and fortunate to work for a head coach, man, that you can never, you never can quite reach his expectations. He's always raising that bar, which is a blessing, and ultimately it makes everybody around him better.
Right. And I think you kind of touched on it when you were back at Howard. I mean, you were a student and you were a manager, but you were finding ways to think about your dream, and you carried yourself with a certain sense of like, I'm bigger than maybe where I already am, and I'm already putting in. You had a different confidence, like players who put in the time in the gym. You just put more time into your craft, whether it was knowing who's who on just the Dallas recruiting scene or just the Dallas player scene, or whatever it may be. I think you've always kind of had a presence about like this moment. I'm thinking bigger than this moment. I'm thinking bigger than right now. I'm thinking about where I want to get to. And I think that's the beauty of it. It's cool to see and hear you share that, because I think you've always had that. I think you've always kind of like, when some people just go to the event and they watch the games, and it's like your wheels were always turning about what was next, instead of some people kind of wanted to unplug. And I think there's a different type of passion that you've had because you knew where you wanted to go and what you want to do. That's just my personal, but as you share it, it makes sense.
Well, I'll tell you this, B. Like, I've always wanted to know everybody. Since I was a kid, my aunt, my auntie used to call me Mr. Busy. So I wanted to know all the high major players, mid major players, low major players. But I never have ever thought about my next job, if that makes sense. Like, my feet have always been where my feet were. Right. And my current job was always my dream job. And I sold out to that. I did everything. Right now, I'm gonna do. I don't care about being a head coach. Do I want to be a head coach? Yeah, I know I'm gonna be a head coach.
Yep.
But my thing is, at the end of the day, right now, I can't. I mean, when God's time is going, it's going to take care of itself.
Right.
Right now, I wake up every day driven to help Texas Tech win a national championship and win a Big 12 championship, and that's all that's on my mind. You know, is I want to be able to do everything I could do every day to do my part to help us do that.
Right.
You know, and to help these guys achieve their dreams, you know, individually.
Yep.
You know, in the process. So that's you know, that's what drives me. The other thing is, you know, I think a lot of guys in our business aren't intentional about the jobs they take. You know, so what I mean by that. So I took the job at Texas A&M because I knew Billy Kennedy was a head coach in the Southland, a league that I had been a part of winning a couple of championships. He wasn't a big time college player. You know, he was a student assistant at New Orleans. He was an AAU coach, had a similar background. You know, yeah, did they win? Of course. But I was driven to his background. So I wanted to see what made him good and what made him confident. Same thing with Chris Beard. People think I just wanted to come to Texas Tech because they just played the national championship game. No, Chris Beard played in Irvin High School. I played high school basketball in Arlington, Texas. You know what I mean? Now, we argue who was a better high school player. I think I was personally. You know, but, he was a head manager, student assistant at University of Texas. Well, so was I. Well, if he could be the national coach of the year, well, how did he do it? What does he do every day?
Right.
You know, and so that experience for me and having that type of, you know, I think purpose on why I want to get this job, as opposed to just taking a job because it's a high major job, but understanding why. You know, it goes back to that student athlete talked about going for school for all the right reasons. You know, that's that. I've been blessed to you know, seek out certain opportunities, and God has blessed me with those opportunities to, you know, that they've come true, you know, for me. So, and I just try to make the best of that opportunity.
Yeah, and I think you touched on it too, Coach. You've definitely been a person who's been locked in where you are. But I think because you've been so passionate about where you are, and you've been such a connector, you've always been thinking steps ahead at the same time. It's like, I'm good where I'm at, but I'm laying out a blueprint and I'm sowing the seeds that are going to reap favor for me down the line. I don't know when, and I may not know where, but it's coming. And it's the same thing you just said right now.
But Brian, I don't mean to cut you off. I don't look at it that way. I look at it as I'm interviewing you, you're interviewing me. And like at a young age, I realized that every time I walked out the house, every time I talked to a coach on the phone, every time I talked to anybody, like, you just never know.
Right.
You know what I mean? And you just never know. So I always tried to carry myself a certain way, the way I wanted to be perceived. I understand first impression is lasting. And I got that at a young age.
Yeah.
And so I think the genuineness of just helping the person that's in front of me with no anticipation that down the road they may pay it for, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just been crazy. I didn't know Chris Beard was going to be the national coach of the year. Like, I wasn't, you know, I thought he did the best job recruiting to Waylon Roberts. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't think, man, hey, you know, man, I'm gonna help, you know, Coach Beard get him, and then when he gets the job at Texas Tech, he's.
And I know,
you know what I mean?
I don't think you ever thought that, but I think the way you carried yourself was so confident. Like, I'm great as a Mustang coach, but I got Division I coming. You knew that because of how you carried yourself. And then when you were at UT Arlington, I'm not looking for the next job. I'm gonna be great as a Mav, but I got bigger things than just here. And that's more so what I meant, is you've always had a sense of foresight to say, I'm great where I'm at, but I'm also looking ahead in a sense of I'm sowing great seeds with the person in front of me. And I don't know how that's going to play out, but it's going to play out. And that's more so what I mean. I think the same thing you said about being a head coach, it's coming. You know it's coming. Yeah. You don't have to worry about it. Now I can lock in where I'm at, and I can be great every step along the way. And I think you've mastered that in a sense of always being on, always being kind of in an interview mode of where you're interviewing and you're getting interviewed, but it's genuine. It's not like you're trying to put on something else, because that's who you are all the time. And I think that's part of what's paid off, is sometimes we turn off the off switch. Let's be honest. Most people, they're not thinking the same way of big picture like that. So I think that's been a great asset of yours, and still is. You know what I mean? Because you're talking about getting up, doing film, breaking things down, figuring out your 30-second play. Like that's not something that every assistant, many are, but not everyone's doing that. Not everyone's trying to figure out how to think about the next move. So salute to you on that. So you talked about Texas Tech a little bit. We'll make it brief, quick halftime. Chris Beard, what's 2 or 3 things that makes him elite?
Oh man,
I
can't.
I know there's like 40.
Yeah, it's too many. Yeah, it's too many to name. He's just an everyday guy, man. Brian, I think you have programs out there. Coach has been talking to our guys, recently about expectations. You have programs out there that we all know free throws are important. All right, so just stay with me on this.
Yep.
You have some guys that, they don't require you to make any free throws after practice. You break the huddle and that's it. Guys go to practice. If you want to stay out there and shoot, you can. You have some guys that say, hey, look, before everybody leaves today, it'd be good, for guys to make 10 free throws before you leave.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have some guys that say, hey guys, let's see if we can make 10 in a row before you leave. Well, Chris Beard is the head coach to say, guys, push yourself, man. Let's see if we can get 10 swishes in a row before we leave. So now it's no goofing around. Guys are shooting on their own, volunteering, right? They're bought into this idea of locking into their routine, trying to see if they can make 10 swishes in a row, not missing short, concentrating on their routine. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So now expectations, go through. And I think expectations are everything in life. I think he's one that he's a developer of people, not just of players, but of everybody that's around him. He's real. He's a relationship coach. I think he's the best relationship coach in the country. His relationships are real. He pours into people. He speaks, the words, the power of words, I think are everything. And he's mastered that. He sees greatness in people. He has the ability to empower, the players, the coaching staff to do the things that they do best. He surrounds himself with elite people. He knows that he's elite. He puts a lot of time into it, man. I doubt, it may be a head coach working as hard, but ain't nobody working harder than him,
Right.
In terms of relationships, the basketball piece, watching film, preparing for practice, our game prep, scouting reports. I mean, everything is next level. The relationships with the students. I mean, we sell out at Texas Tech, Brian. Like, that's never, you know what I mean? Like, we have the largest student section in the country, man. Like, I mean, he's involved with everything. And, academics, I mean, he's at 100% graduation rate. So it's like, it's really hard to pinpoint just a couple of things. I just think he's elite at everything. And I ultimately, man, I think he's a future Hall of Famer.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I was blessed during my time at Abilene Christian to see him work at McMurray, which is in the same city. So was at practice, was at games, he was at ours, and incredible molder, incredible teacher, unbelievable attention to detail. His passion for the game, you can't really emulate that. He's
addicted. He's addicted, man.
He's definitely on a different level when it comes to it, and it comes out when it comes time for the players. And he has a way of speaking to players that makes them believe a whole different part of them exists that they didn't know. And it's not because he's saying you can do it, but it's the way he talks to them, the way he connects, and he's definitely a star in our profession for a reason, and not because of the glamour and glitter or the flash, because he's a JUCO dude. He's a dude that's self-made, but I just love everything he's built there is who he is. And Texas Tech is just the perfect spot. So it makes so much sense to me. I was excited for you when you got on with him because, like you said, going from Arlington, going from Irving High School, like the stories are so similar. So you'll be doing some similar things when you get your shot. I'm curious, 2 things. One thing that makes Texas Tech, you talked about a little bit with the people, but what makes Lubbock and Texas Tech as a school special, and what makes the program special, if you had to say just one thing of each?
Well, I would say the people are so welcoming, just so, genuine and down to earth. It's a blue collar type mentality here. I've been in some situations where, it was very, elitist type attitude, and the people here, man, you can't tell, the janitors from the millionaires, and so it's fun to be around from that standpoint. The program, what Coach Beard and Coach Adams and this program, the rest of the coaching staff have been able to build here at Texas Tech has just been unbelievable. And just to be in a program where, Coach Beard now is, we're one of, Jemias Ramsey, if he's fortunate enough to be a first-round pick, which we expect when the draft happens next month, man. I mean, we'll be one of 3 teams to have a first-round pick the last 3 years, us, Duke, and Kentucky. I don't think anybody would have expected that. When Coach Beard came to town, he's 67-4, something like that, home record. No, 64-7. I'm sorry, 64-7. The last 4 years doing his tenure here at Tech, which is incredible. We got one of the best home court atmospheres in the country. But just our culture, man. Our culture separates us. We got one of the largest coaching staffs in the country. And, the emphasis on developing players, I just think it's something that truly separates us from a lot of teams in the country.
Yeah, no doubt. Well said, Coach. And just to piggyback what you said on the culture, what's one thing? I know there's, you can't you can't give the secret sauce out. I know that. But what's one thing other than 4-1 that just kind of makes just the culture so special? If you had to say one thing.
Again, it's so hard to I think this the sense of no entitlement, from the head coach all the way down to our last manager, just the, no entitlement culture, no excuse culture. And I think it's one of those, Coach Beard has built this thing where we defend the culture, every day, all the things that are important to us on and off the floor. The guys know that it's real. Sometimes you hear this word culture and a lot of fluff kind of creeps in.
Right.
But man, it's something that we defend every day. And then when we're really good, like I think we got a chance to be this year, we have some veteran guys that have been through the wars, that understand the culture, that kind of set the tone for the new guys, and they help defend that culture as well. So, I think that people that know about Texas Tech basketball, that come watch us practice, that see us play, they know that our culture is real, and it's one that travels. It's no different. We're the same Texas Tech, whether we're up 20 or we're down 20. And I think that's when you have a real culture, when it can travel.
Absolutely. And I think to credit staff also, when you can have the same culture year in and year out, you can have freshmen come in like Zaire Smith and be able to have the success he had and then follow it 2 years later. Obviously, you had Culver in the middle. He was a sophomore. And then you have, a freshman come in. And those guys don't know anything about the culture. But for them to come in, and even the group you have returning this year, you have a ton of freshmen back and a lot of young guys back, to be able to have the same culture after going to the national championship game and then coming back with all these young pups and having that culture is an amazingly impressive thing. And it's a sign of true culture. So, and I know this year will be even more special because you have more players that have been around and have been a part of it, and that fabric is in them now. And so now they can help pay it forward. So now it's really scary for the opponents.
I hope so, man. We think we got a pretty special team. We've been working really hard. We play in arguably the best league in college basketball. Still finalizing our schedule, but we'll push ourselves. We'll play a pretty competitive schedule. So, but I think our guys are ready. I think they'll be ready, I should say. We're just trying to gel and work on our chemistry every day. We've embodied this word uncomfortable. It's kind of our theme word of the year. And, just trying to embrace the idea of being comfortable, being uncomfortable, as a team and as individuals, just so we can, continue to grow, so.
Yeah, only great things come when you get uncomfortable, because then you get out of your comfort zone, you grow. So if you already have great players, you take them to higher greatness. So I love it. So we're going last question of the halftime with Texas Tech. We're going to segue to the third quarter. But what's one thing that any of the staff members you can, and it's hard to speak for them, so this is kind of like the beginning of the fun round, right? The losing round. So what would Coach Adams say, or what would Coach Beard say about Coach Maligi to somebody else if they ask when you weren't around? You only got 1 minute, so you can't give the whole thing, but just give us a sample.
Oh man, I hope that he would say that I impact winning, and that I love and genuinely care for everybody that's in this program. And I would get the shit off my back. Um, and I don't know, just the everyday guy. I would hope that that's what he would say.
No doubt. And he would also say he wasn't as good as a high school player as me, even though you were. uh, so let's go third quarter, the scouting report. This is kind of a fun round. We're just going to go through some words, and you got to be on the hot seat about yourself. So tell us about ULRIC Maligi, the recruiter.
You know, so many people, think I get caught up in trying to recruit 4 and 5-star guys, but I enjoy recruiting the 4 and 5-star guys before they become 4 and 5-star guys, if that makes any sense.
Makes perfect sense.
I enjoy the evaluation piece of it more than the recruiting part of it. And I'm fortunate that, I feel like I can do both at a pretty elite level. I've been around some great mentors that have helped me, but just genuine, real, gonna come through on everything that I said. I'm a promise less and deliver more in that process.
That's good. And you're gonna put some fear in some other people when you come in the room. You can say that.
Nobody's worried about little old me.
You don't have to say that. I can say it.
Nobody's worried about little old me.
So tell us on the hot seat, the practice coach.
Oh man, I got energetic, fiery, prepared, accountability, myself and the players, committed to winning, and then try to have some fun, man. Try to have some fun with the guys too.
No doubt.
But yeah, just try to be I would like to think I'm an everyday guy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Tell a few jokes on the side before practice, even. Gotta bust them up.
Yeah, have some fun with it, man.
A little bit.
Smell the roses a little bit.
The relationship builder.
Genuine, authentic. I tell these kids, man, when you come to wherever school I've been part of recruiting guys, man, we're hooked at the hip forever. My wife and I, we go to weddings, we're at baby christenings, we're at graduations, we're at all type of events, man. We're calling former players on holidays, and they're doing the same. So just genuine, man. I don't take it lightly, man, when families trust me and our coaching staff with their babies, because at the end of the day, they will always be their babies, no matter how big they get. So, just want to pride myself in trying to deliver on what I said and our staff said we're going to do in recruiting. Just want to do my part.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. 2 more in the hot seat, then we'll let you cool off. 2 more. Yep. The game day coach.
Man, loose, listening to music, getting prepared. I got a playlist that I like to listen to and kind of have fun. Then I have my little prayer time, my quiet meditating time. I don't really take naps, but man, really locked in and focused and excited, because I know that we've done everything we can to prepare for the win. And confident is another one. Just extremely confident on game day, just ready to deliver the results.
Confident because you put in the work. I love it. So last one, what's what you would describe as an aspect of yourself that most people don't get to see?
I think the easy part would say, man, so many people talk about my ability to recruit and evaluate. I like to think that if you talk to the people that I work with, our players, the managers, I think people will tell you I'm a lot better coach than people know. I think that's the easy thing to say, but I think the part that people don't know is just, I'm a man of God, man. I'm not perfect, but my faith is unwavering. I got moving mountain faith. I got radical faith, and I'm not ashamed of that. I'm unapologetic about that. So, and then I love my family. I love my mom, my sisters, my nieces. and just love spending time with them. I FaceTime with them, 3-4 times a day. My wife, my mother-in-law, even my father-in-law. So, my family means everything to me.
Yeah, that's awesome. That might be my favorite answer so far, Coach. I love it. Big time. So we're gonna go fourth quarter. So your starting five plus your
Oh,
sixth man that you've coached in college. Yeah, you guys don't count. And I know you might hurt your feelings,
no.
but you gotta
That's way too hard.
you gotta
That's
give
way
me
too hard. I'll tell you this. I can give you one. Everybody could get mad. I just told Matt McClung this the other day. There is a difference between NBA prospects and then, elite level college players. And sometimes it works out where, that elite level college player is also a big time NBA prospect, which, that's the case we feel with Matt McClung. But, it's he was asking me the other day, he's like, man, coach, who was the best player you ever coached? And in college. And I said, well, we're not talking the most talented, we're talking, the best player. And when I think about that, it's like, when I pull up to any arena, it is, coach, you pull up to that arena and that bus, that bus goes, psst. Those guys get off the bus and they got the beat, headphones and now the AirPods now, and they walk out. And it's like, man, like this dude about to put us on his back. Like he ain't gonna let us lose tonight. Right. And, just a guy that you knew was just going to compete every night. Nick Moore would have to be at the top of that list for me. He's a 2-time All-American. He is definitely my first pick. If I had to go back in all the years that I've coached a kid in college, he would be up there. Another one would be Josh Alexander, Stephen F. Austin, man.
Ooh,
player of the year, underdog, both Nick Moore and him, not really highly recruited coming out of high school, chip on his shoulders, overachieved. I hate to say overachieved because they achieved what they knew they could do,
Other people.
Yeah. Other people thought they overachieved.
Right.
But just fierce competitors, man. Those two would be at the top. I don't know. I've been fortunate to coach some really good ones, man, over the years, man. So, but those two would be at the top of the list for sure.
We'll let you pass with those two, Coach. I won't press you on that one. That's good. That's good. You talked about that bus going down. Let's talk about favorite venue to play in that you've coached in, not counting a home court. So you can't say any place that you've worked. But
outside of Texas Tech.
Outside of Texas Tech, or any place you worked.
Or Moody. Moody was pretty good too. I would say the top two that I've experienced would be definitely Kansas. Allen Fieldhouse is special. It's one of those, venues that, you got to check off the bucket list. A lot like, coming here to the USA and love it, but a great environment. And then also I would say Gonzaga. Gonzaga reminded me a lot of Moody Coliseum, where they had a smaller arena, but everybody was packed on top of you. I have not got a chance to play in Cameron Indoor, some of these other, places that have, great home court advantages. So, but those are the two that I've experienced. There's a lot of great venues out there. All of the teams in the Big 12 had great venues, so I don't want anybody trying to use this and be on bullet. You don't want to be on the scouting reports, man.
Right.
Coach Jerrington think our venues is pretty good, but no, those are probably two of the best though.
What's your favorite victory that comes to mind?
I would say a couple. One, the championship game in the Southland Conference championship game when we went to the tournament for the first time in school history.
Yep.
I thought that was a special win, obviously, just for what it meant for our team, but for the city of Nacogdoches, for the school of Stephen F.
For the history.
Yeah, the history piece of it. Also, going to my first Sweet 16 at Texas A&M. I grew up a Carolina fan, so to be able to beat North Carolina, and we beat them pretty convincingly in Charlotte, North Carolina, which was home for me. And it was before my dad passed. So my dad he's a diehard Carolina fan, but I told you he's my biggest fan too. So my dad watched the game with a Texas A&M basketball shirt on and a Carolina hat. So,
Awesome.
but I had a lot of family there that had Carolina shirts, and they, I had to bring them some Texas A&M sweatshirts. And but that was a pretty cool moment too. Just to be able to win that game. We had to, we were clicking on all cylinders that day. So,
sure.
First time that Carolina had lost in the state of Carolina too in the NCAA tournament. So that was big.
Wow. Yeah, another history. Yeah, historic wins. I love it. What's your favorite obstacle you've overcome?
I got one more win, Coach.
Okay, got you. Go ahead.
We beat Louisville this year. First time we had ever beat
They were number one
team,
right?
number one team in the country. My first time ever beating the number one team in the country, and we did it without Jamias Ramsey.
Yes, you did.
And Avery Benson was one of my favorite players of all time. He came in and had a special night, and did it at Madison Square Garden. That was a pretty special one too.
Yeah, all historic wins, so it's only fitting. Yeah, it doesn't have to be long, Coach. What's a favorite obstacle you've overcome? It can be quick.
I have so many of them. But I'm thankful for them. I wouldn't change anything.
They build you who you are.
I'm still getting over the obstacle of losing my father. Definitely proud of, the way that, family, friends, mentors have helped me to navigate through, getting through a crazy NCAA investigation. And so fortunate, to be coaching today after, a lot of people would have, quit, and been mad at the business. But I understand it's a business, and so not mad at anybody that, part of that investigation. I think it happened for a reason. And ultimately, Brian, man, it made me, have one of the greatest victory for me, which was on June 2000, I guess it was June 20th, 2015, I was baptized. I was at a time at SMU that, I probably was a little worldly. And, to be able to rededicate my life to God and have a close relationship with him and refine some relationships with my wife and my family and the whole nine it's been special for me.
Yeah. Game changer. It's the real championship right there.
Absolutely.
I actually got baptized, similar scenario, but it's not about me. But I got baptized a year ago in June.
Congratulations, that's big time.
June 16th. So so no doubt, definitely, I can relate to that. Pre-game meal and pre-game song. What's your favorites?
Oh man, I got so many pre-games. I told you I got a playlist, man.
Yeah.
A little bit of everything on there. Right now, probably, Sleep When You Die, 2 Chainz.
Okay.
Grinding All My Life, Nipsey Hussle's got to be in that rotation.
Oh, yeah. Shout out to Nipsey.
Man, so many, man.
That's good. What would you say?
Pre-game meal, man. Whatever the players are eating. I'm not.
You don't have like a favorite.
I don't have like no special routine. Now, when I worked with Brett Tanner, who you worked with at Apple, he was superstitious. So we would go to Shalosky's before every home game. I think we only lost like one game at home, though.
Yeah, it worked out.
So it worked out. So
I haven't found that spot. And Abilene Christian too. They just went to the tournament.
I probably need to get back to that. I probably need to get back to Shalosky.
Might not be a bad idea.
Get back to that.
Do you have any favorite game day rituals?
Just listening to music, meditate. I enjoy the whole. I'm kind of weird, man. So I got a routine. I get up. I like to pray, maybe read a chapter or two. Listen to my music. I'll have time where, not necessarily go to sleep, but just kind of meditate and spend some time to myself, and then maybe 45 minutes before it's time for us as coaches to be in the locker room, I like to try to get a quick workout in and just run.
Yeah.
Listen to some more of the playlist, kind of get myself going. When it's my scout, I like to listen to my playlist again some more.
Right. Right.
Have my AirPods in and
Playlist is key. You almost
yeah,
like
Playlist is my playlist is everything, man. If you don't follow me on Apple Music, you lose it.
Yeah,
But,
I love it.
I writing. I kind of have a couple pins that I write with, on the board, scouting reports and that kind of thing before the game. It's kind of my little deal.
Yeah, good. So we got 3 more of these favorites. So, favorite person to call when something great happens that's not your wife. We know you're gonna call your wife. We know when your dad was around, you was gonna call him. So somebody else. And then, who's your favorite coach to study that's not on the staff that you are on?
Okay, it's good.
And those 2, and then I'll give you the last one.
My person that I call is my best friend Ray Jackson, who he coached with the Dallas Mustangs. It's my big brother. And then I would say it's multiple coaches that I like to study, but I would say Conzo Martin at Missouri.
Great.
Just got a lot of respect for him, the way he carries himself, the way he runs his programs, and then also, I would say Leonard Hamilton, would be in that mix as well. Current coaches, but just been doing a lot of homework on past coaches. Eddie Robinson was a football coach for Grambling.
Yeah, Grambling.
Then obviously the late, John Thompson, at Georgetown as well.
Yeah, all legends, first class, top shelf. Past and present, who's 2 people you take to dinner and why? Any genre, any space in life, who you taking to dinner and why?
I would want to take Jesus.
I had a feeling you were going to say that. I was hoping you'd say that.
I would want to take Jesus, man.
I love it. That's a big time one.
For obvious reasons.
Yeah, drop the mic on that.
And then I would like to talk to Dr. Martin Luther King. And just the respect, starting at such an early age and being courageous enough to stand up for what was right, what he believed was right, and in such a powerful way. And just the good and the bad. I just love to be able to sit down and listen to his stories, and and then I would also like to see what else he would have wanted to do,
right?
If he was allowed the opportunity.
Right. Right. Very good. Love it, Coach. You're killing it right now. So we're gonna go lightning round, overtime, then we're done. Okay. Lightning round's fun. So one thing, you only get to pick one. I know you can pick a million from each of these coaches that you've worked for that you would take when you become a head coach. Right. So Terry Brown's first. What's one thing you take?
Woo! Again, so hard. Hiring elite people around you, holding players and staff accountable. Truth telling.
That's good. Okay, so Scott Cross.
Elite recruiter, relationship builder, relationship coach as well.
Yep. Tony Johnson. Tony Johnson is, who those that don't know, he is the
best evaluator I've ever been around.
There you go. He is the CEO and brains behind the Dallas Mustangs. He's the father.
Just his genuineness, his care for and love for his players.
Yep.
I think it's something that separates him and makes him who he is today.
Yep. And we both work for him. One of the best ever. Billy Kennedy.
His faith. Another big reason I went there. He challenged me to elite people read. And he was just an unbelievable CEO. His demeanor, man, he never got too high, never got too low. So those would probably be definitely two things that I would take away from him.
That's good. John Lucas.
His energy, his attention to detail in terms of player development, being able to think outside the box.
Mm-hmm.
Again, a truth teller, man.
Right. Blunt truth teller.
Blunt truth teller. Yeah. But just this passion, man.
Right.
Vehement about making players better,
Right. What about the last one, Chris Beard?
Our culture, from A to Z, man. I'm still in everything.
Yep.
Just too much to name, man. His passion, his energy, the discipline, attention to detail, the expectations, the environment that's created every day. I mean, it's all that.
No doubt. I mean, it's a lot of Hall of Famers we just named all coaches that you've worked for. So definitely looking forward to you having a chance to be at the helm of a program. So this is the fun part. Over time, we're talking about you as a head coach, which I'm speaking life into. You've already spoken. When God wants it to happen, it'll happen, and you're definitely sowing the seed. So, what will a university get when they get you as a head coach?
Just someone that's first going to represent the university and the program the right way. That's going to be aligned with the mission of the university and the core values. One that's going to make sure that the student athlete experience is one that will be great and memorable for each one of those student athletes. One individual that would be committed to graduating every student athlete that I'm blessed to coach. One that will surround himself with elite people that will also shape these guys for success, not just on the court, but for life. And that will be committed to winning on and off the floor. And that's going to be an everyday guy, man. That's going to, be a team player, do whatever I can to help the athletic, program and the other athletic teams. That's going to support everyone on campus. It's going to be involved in the community. It's just going to be genuine, man. It's going to be real. I'm going to be an extension of the university and the athletic department and be all about winning. And hopefully a guy that can, either create or sustain winning ways and take it to a whole nother level.
Yep, well said. And you're going to do all those things, Coach. I definitely believe that. What advice would you give your younger self?
Man, not take so long to not be so scared to fail. I would tell my younger self, man, that be confident. You put the work in, you study so much. Don't be scared to be assertive. I think it took me, everything happens for a reason. I wouldn't change anything, but for a younger coach that's listening, man, just trust your gut, and be assertive, and I've always been the youngest on my staff, so I've always been worried about stepping on toes. But working for Coach Beard, man, he's challenged me to be the best assistant coach that I can be every day, and he's empowered me to be myself every day too. So I think some of that, has to take place too. You have to work for some coaches that genuinely believe in you and want you to do that, and not just recruit or scout, and that want you to be involved with every aspect of the program and not for lack of better words, they're confident and they're secure in their own skins to allow you to have those relationships with people across campus that ultimately are going to benefit you long term. So very blessed to work for Coach Beard and his staff here.
Yeah, amen to that. Two last questions, Coach. Obviously, I follow you and your social media, and you've touched on things that are near and dear to social injustice and equality. Just anything you want to say on that topic. You don't have to go too long, but just anything that you want to just share that's from the heart that you're hoping for, that you're pulling for, you're praying for, that you'd like to see happen.
At the end of the day, Coach, I think it's all about right and wrong. It's not a political thing for me. I'm just a truth teller, man. I like this program because we're all about, truth telling. And for me, I just want to try to use my platform, my little voice, to be able to create change. I feel like that's what I've been trying to do from the very beginning of time anyways, So just continuing that, I just want to, my wife tries to keep me up on current events. Sometimes we get so caught up in winning basketball games, which that's important. That's our game. That's our jobs. But just being able to, stay on top of current events. And our guys have been educated on that as well. And just trying to be a resource for our guys. I think so many people think about the, it's so hard to reach everyone, but we're blessed as coaches to be, have these 14 players in our locker room. And just to be able to be impactful in their lives every day is everything to me.
Right.
So, that's really my focus, and trying to just control what I can control where I am.
Yep. Very well said, Coach. Very well said. You've killed it on all aspects. You've covered it all. You've definitely given us all access today. I want to end with this question and just tell us about your why and what you want your legacy to be. We've obviously got the inside of who you are, your story, so many aspects of what has made you be recognized multiple times on multiple publications for being top 40 under 40. And we know you're a head coach to be very soon. But what would you want your legacy to be? What is your why to why you do this?
Again, another layered question, Coach. My why is pretty layered. My why would obviously be centered around my Lord and Savior. And just, not a lot of people wake up every day, man, to get a chance to work in their purpose. My family, my wife, my mom and my dad is no longer here, but my sisters and all of my nieces and nephews that I know look up to me. Other family members, that I'm able to impact through my work and, just being a blessing to others that are around me. The fact that I was an inner city kid in Charlotte, North Carolina, from Kings Park Apartments, right off West Boulevard, and seeing my mom being kind of the cornerstone of the neighborhood as a librarian and kind of being everybody's mom. And I wasn't an athlete to make it out. I wasn't an NBA player or NFL player. And there's nothing wrong with those guys. Anthony Moore is from the same hood that I'm from. So I'm proud of him, to be able to get out and make a better life for him and his family. But, there are young kids out there that are in those 80 cities that need to know that they can be a doctor like my wife, from the Pink Apartments, in Oak Cliff, or from Kings Park. You can grow up and you can aspire to be a coach and impact lives. And if that's what you want to do, you can be anything that you want to be. And so, that's my why. I was fortunate, man. My mom exposed me to a lot at an early age. And I got a chance to see, dentists, pastors, police officers, teachers, principals of color at a young age. And she explained to me, you can be anything that you wanted to be. But a lot of times these kids just aren't exposed to that. And so that's my why, man. I want to impact all kids that I come in contact with and be memorable. And when I'm dead and gone one day, man, hopefully, there will be people not necessarily crying at my funeral, but celebrating and talking about the impact that I had on their lives. And that's what I want my legacy to be ultimately.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, Coach. We appreciate you so much giving us all the access to your journey, your story, where you've been, who you are, where you're going. Just hard not to root for a dude that's doing things the way you've done it and is in the place you're in. So excited for you. Had to kick it off with the DFW representing.
I appreciate you.
The only way, man. The only way. So we'll give you the mic for the last words. Any last words you have? And for anybody listening, obviously, definitely follow Coach. We'll give you the plug to how to do that. But more than anything, man, just thank you for coming. Thanks for being our first guest and getting us kicked off with the podcast. And we'll let you close it out.
Coach, I just wanted to thank you and All Access Coaches Corner for having me on. Obviously, it's an honor to be your first guest. You guys are doing great work, so just wanted to thank you for that. But feel free to follow me on Twitter or Instagram at Coach_Maligi, Maligi. And, shoot me a message. I'll try to get back with you as soon as I can. So, again, Coach, thank you for having me on, man. It's been an honor.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. And guns up. Best of success for the season, man, and the rest of your career. Look forward to you not only doing big things there, but I'm still projecting. Look forward to you doing great things in the rest of your career when you're in that first seat, too.
I appreciate you, man. God bless.
Yep, same to you, man.
Amen.